Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the second live of today. Like, I don't think I've done two lives in a day in a while. But welcome to today's live. So this month, I want to continue a series that we started, really introducing you to our community and some of my favorite business people on the planet, of which Dave Plunkett of Collaboration Junkie is one of them. Welcome, Dave.
Hi, Katrina. It is lovely to be here. Absolutely gorgeous to be here.
It's great to have you. Great to have you. And it's so funny because we have wanting or planned to have this a couple of times, and we finally made it, Dave. We finally made it.
Good
So
things come to those who wait.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Too busy celebrating birthday month last month and had to schedule a couple of times. But we made it. We made it, absolutely. So I guess you and I met at the business show last year, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
We did. And so I had been thinking about partnerships for a while. And even though I'd worked on partnerships in corporate, I really just didn't have the capacity to come up with my own strategy. And so when I met you, Dave, it was like, oh my gosh, thank you, Jesus. Like, you are the person. Like, I've been waiting for you. So, and so partnerships are a big part of launching. Well, they can be really, really powerful. And so it's something that I wanted to talk about on these lives. And there's no better person than you. There's no better person than you. So today I want to talk about the power of partnerships, because they can really catapult a business and really launch it into a really significant level of success. So welcome, Dave, welcome. And I always like to kick these things off with the question, what's your story and how did we get here?
Okay, how long have we got? Right, I will do brief pot history to make it most relevant to partnerships, I suppose. As a kid, I moved about loads. My dad was in the Air Force. So I went to something like double digits worth of schools. And I think that certainly was where I learned to connect with people, because you're just thrown into that new environment consistently and in an environment where everyone else is.
Yeah.
And so you just learn that piece. And then fast forward a few years, I was running a membership organization, which again is all about connection. I worked for the Chamber of Commerce, and then I ran my own membership organization in partnership with someone. And we grew that to a couple of thousand members, almost entirely through referrals or strategic partners. That was absolutely what was part of our growth. And obviously the member experience was key to that in getting those referrals as well.
Yeah.
That business then morphed into one where, through communities that we worked with, we were responsible for providing leads to other brands that wanted access to the SME market. And we worked with new up and coming brands alongside global players, people like Regis and Volvo and Yale and all sorts of others.
Yeah.
And that business did quite well. I probably didn't. I got a bit miserable running it. And despite having a wonderful home life, kids happening, and I've got 3 of them now, I was miserable running the business. And so just pre-COVID, actually kind of decided I need to offer some more personal value, and that partnership piece and leveraging word of mouth and introductions to their fullest is something that I'm absolutely passionate about. And there just isn't that much education out there, considering it's the oldest form of marketing.
It is.
And still the most successful and effective for most, particularly B2B businesses. There's so little practical stuff out there. And I thought, right, this is me. This is what I'm doing. And here I am doing it. Yes.
Absolutely. And I love that. And it's so true, Dave, that there are so few people doing it. I was surprised because it had been on my radar for a while, but it's like not something that's obvious. Like, to find someone that does it, unless there's someone like you in your network, it's like trying to find a needle in a haystack. And so working with you has been a joy. We did a strategy day. So for the first time in a long time, I was the student. I was not the strategist. And we spent the day together strategizing, putting together my partnership strategy. And we've been working together ever since. So you keep me accountable. We have a call every month. And is really, really great. So there's no one else I would really recommend to my community and to my clients when it comes to partnership. And so I really wanted to give people some insights into how powerful strategic partnerships can be, because a lot of times when people think of launch marketing or even growth marketing, you think social media, you think maybe advertising, but not enough people think about strategic partnerships. And for B2B, it's gold. I mean, it's what I grew up with. When I was cutting my teeth as a marketer, it was exhibitions and strategic partnerships, and they're still as powerful as they ever were. Yes, we still have different routes to market. There's LinkedIn, there's social media, which facilitates it. But as a marketing channel, it's, few things really beat it. And it's both in terms of how effective it can be and how cost effective it can be.
Yeah, completely agree.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's really start at the beginning. What do we mean by strategic partnerships? Because there's many types, aren't there, Dave?
There is, and the word partnership, if you say it to some people, they think kind of formal joint venture with legal terms and everything else. And for me, it's not about that. It's a strategic partnership or strategic collaboration is something more committed than a casual handshake and someone you do a little bit of work with. So it's got much more commitment to it behind that, and that's that starting point. This is a proper relationship that we're really going to work at. In terms of what makes it strategic, for me, the starting point is that you've got a common goal for the end stakeholder, whether that's a customer, a client, whoever the end recipient of whatever's happening is. There's got to be a common goal. I think that's the starting point. I think where they go to and in my view, where they go to the next level is where it's not just about a common goal. It's where if you're the person who's looking to build a partnership strategy, it's not just about having an end goal, same end goal for the end client. It's about the other person having a vested interest in referring you. So your own product or service directly enhances or indirectly enhances what it is they do for that end user. And when you've got that piece there, it means the other partner has a real reason to want to refer you because you're going to help what they do. And that symbiotic kind of relationship with everyone involved is where the real power happens. So for me, it's about that. And yes, there's probably agreements that go alongside it. I think there should be absolutely around setting expectations and all that, but it's more about the intent of working together than any formal binding legal agreement or anything like that.
And when we worked together, what was interesting for me is I think it gave me the space. Well, with your guidance, I was able to realize types of partnerships that I never would have thought of. And so when we think of partnerships, quite often the opportunity is broader than you first think.
It is. And often the ones that we go in with thinking are going to be our ideal partner type, when we do a little bit digging into that kind of, do they have that vested interest? It just doesn't work out that way. Or we'll think a bit deeper and think that there's there's a block there. There's going to be something that stops that relationship progressing further. And it's of all the work I do with people, that first piece around kind of that exploratory piece is by far the most fun. It's brilliant.
Definitely, and enlightening, because I think all the ones that I thought would be good prior, by the time we ended the conversation, the strategy, I was like, actually no. And we ended up going completely left, but that it was right to go left, so it's really, really enlightening. So what are the types of strategic partnerships?
And I think this is a really good point, actually, about being very clear about why you're looking to partner. Because if you're not clear on that yourself, then you're not going to be able to articulate that to a partner, so they're not going to join up. And so in terms of why you would want to partner, it depends on where you're looking to go with your business. So the most of the work that I do is in the lead generation space, right? It's about word of mouth introductions from a trusted third party. But even then, there's a low level of qualification within that. Do you want someone in the IT sector, which is where partnerships are massively embraced, you've kind of got it as the channels. You've got whole reseller channels where you're not even doing that piece. Do you want qualified leads? Do you basically want, on the other side of it, do you basically want anyone with a pulse? Like as soon as they've got permission, kind of you're willing to talk. Maybe actually you're not looking for leads, you're just looking for exposure. Maybe what you're looking for is credibility. Credibility by association is a really powerful reason to partner. Potentially, particularly in the launch space, if you're a new product launch kind of thing, partnering with that right people to give you credibility, another very valid reason to partner. And then it can be the other way around as well. So as much as a lot of the work I do is around people who want to bring leads into their business, my experience has been on that other side of providing leads. And so maybe you're looking to partner for someone to enhance your own product or service so that you can offer a broader range. And so there's that's just a few kind of but there are so many reasons to partner. And I think we're in a specialist economy these days, and people like working with experts. And often it's a lot easier now to, if there's a skill set that's missing from your offering, a lot of the time the most effective way to do it, particularly with how things are with recruitment as well, can actually be to partner with someone who can plug that gap rather than trying to do it in-house. Not always, but in many instances.
Yeah. And I think one of the things that we spent a lot of time on as well is not just, you as the company thinking what is in your best interest, but also what do you have to give, and what is that partner going to see as valuable? Because sometimes what we see as valuable is not what we see as valuable. And there was a really important piece that you spoke about where you said, do you know what, it's not just about what you can offer their end user, their end client, but also what you can offer them as a partner, and to make sure you have considered those pieces. So let's talk about that, Dave. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, and it's one of the big things that people kind of, I want to say make the mistake of, but it is a mistake. But if you don't know what you don't know, and it's, if you're going out there and you're looking for partners and you're direct messaging them on LinkedIn or whatever it is that you're doing, it's a noisy world out there, and there's a good chance that the person that you're asking to be a partner or making that inquiry has probably got 5 or 6 similar messages over a fairly short period of time as well, and most of them will focus on the value that you can offer to their client. And that's probably very, very true that you can offer that value. But to the potential partner, it says, I want to sell to your audience. And they brush over it. Whereas actually the real approach is to think about that value delivered to the client. How does that reflect back on the partner? Well, how does that really impact the partner? And then your whole approach when you're speaking to partners is about working with them to help them add value to their clients. The working with the clients is kind of the necessary thing in order for you to add value to the partner. It's not the main focus of conversation. And even if people go, that's what people had in mind anyway, just that subtle shift in thinking and messaging absolutely is makes a huge part.
It's gold.
I call it a partner value proposition. You need to think more about why they would want to partner with you than why you want to partner with them.
And an area that actually we're currently kind of working through, and that has been a really interesting point for me, is how much value do you give up front? How do you make sure that the balance is right? Because it's so easy to swing, in too far on either side. And so how, Dave, and I know this is something that you have been working with me on, because I think naturally I'm of the school same as you, where it's like, we are givers first, like we're going to give first. But sometimes you can do too much to the point that you're giving so much and actually getting nothing in return. And the whole thing is it's meant to be mutually beneficial. So in an effort to not make your client feel like, or the partner feel like you're taking, you can swing the other way. But how do we make sure that the balance is right on both sides?
Okay, so there's we can never guarantee it at outset.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing. But it is about doing that work up front and setting expectations.
Yeah.
And it's a piece that so many where I've seen partnerships fail or peter out or sometimes completely implode. Some of them I've been a part of, others I've witnessed. It's normally because that expectations haven't been set at the start.
Yeah.
I talk about degrees of separation quite a lot these days when I mention this, and it's so easy when we're in the really exciting throes of initial stages of conversation to go, we're all on the same page here. But if you're just out in your thinking, well, over time that little thing becomes a bigger and bigger gap, and suddenly you're way apart, and it feels an insurmountable difference to bring back. And so it's really, really important at outset to set expectations around short, mid, and long term, and at the short term, really granular. Like, what are we looking to get from this? When are we expecting it to happen? Who's doing what and when? And then review that.
Yeah.
So the other thing that goes alongside that is having formal partnership reviews.
Yeah.
And so many people go, oh, it's fine. I speak to my partners all the time, and it's like, but you're not talking to them about the broader stuff. It's like, are we where we think we're going to be? And if not, why not? Well, how can we correct this?
Yeah.
But it's also a great opportunity to find out what else is going on. Being really genuinely curious about what's going on in their business, because maybe there's an opportunity for you to add more value, or for them to add more value to you, or whatever it may be. And so for me, the way to do that is it's very much and it's a struggle for me to do it, by the way. It's much easier for me to talk about it than it is to do, but to really kind of at that outset go, look, this is what we're going to be doing. And this is what this is how we're going to measure success. A question I like is, what does success look like for you? And if we both know if all parties know what success looks like for everyone, and the actions we're going to do to get there, well, then you've got a yardstick to measure against and review against. And it's not about having something to beat people over the head with. It's about having something there to be able to start a conversation that otherwise would have been really awkward to have if you didn't have that structure in place.
Yeah. No, that's my thing. It's really, really important. Setting expectations is crucial in any business relationship, but I found that even more so when it comes to partnership relationships. It's really important. So what are some of the huge benefits of partnerships?
What a broad question. Right. So I think the override, so for me, there's, other than the kind of, we've done the reasons why people would partner, right? But then so when you're bringing that back through, there's a whole load of things. If you're a small business owner, then working in partnership has a whole load of additional benefits around having having another person to work collaboratively with is an enjoyable way to work. Innovation blossoms and all those other things that you get from working closely with another person, and that you can't underplay that for certain people and certain sectors. The overriding thing with partnerships as well, I think, is whatever the outcome that you're looking for from your business, be it impact, be it reach, be it volume of sales. Working in partnership just amplifies that. It's a multiplier. And there's that abundance that people talk about. Partnerships, when they're working well, have this magical thing to bend maths, where it's they create something greater than the sum of their parts. 2 and 2 equals 5. And what you do with that abundant bit there is where the magic can happen. That either creates greater impact or greater efficiencies, or allows you to do something on the other side to create social, like there's so much that can be done when you're working in this way, because things happen quicker and faster and with more reach, and that happens because of all the subset bits that drop into it around the innovation and efficiencies and all those pieces. And so that's probably my big broad kind of blue sky thinking answer. With the people that I work with, particularly around it on their kind of lead gen and introduction strategy, I think the benefits there come from for most people, lead gen is the bit in their business that they don't like. It's the bit that they struggle with the most. People say sales, but people love sales. Selling, because they love the final bit of conversation. For most people, they like that final bit of conversation, right? It's the getting someone to that they don't like.
Exactly.
And it can take time, and people ghost you sometimes, and all that sort of stuff. And the joy of partnerships is that you get your ideal customers to you at the right time to buy, and they already trust you, which means the sales cycle shorter, and they don't ghost you, and it just makes it more enjoyable and more exciting, and then your business is a bit more enjoyable and exciting in your life. And so I'm biased, right? But for me, it's kind of the real key to everything, and it speaks to our fundamental human desires. We all want to connect, and partnerships are a way of driving connections.
Definitely. And I during lockdown, I said that, you know, we're in the season of what I call the 3 C's of kind of collaboration and creative thinking and collective brain power. And so it's everything that you said. It's absolutely an amplifier. And when you think about, you know, it's this whole thing of, if you want to go fast, go alone, but if you want to go far, go together, right? So it's like, together we achieve more. That's what it is. And so we spoke about one of the pitfalls to avoid, so not setting expectations at the beginning. What are some other common pitfalls to avoid, Dave, when you're thinking about strategic partnerships?
So going too big. And what I mean by this is trying to plan big right from the very start of a partnership. I've been involved in partnerships where they seemed like they were going to be the amount of opportunity was just huge, and so that's what all the planning was around. How are we going to create this huge, great piece? Because the integration's just there; it's so obvious. The trouble is when you do that, and it takes time, and at some point, one or more parties can get dragged away because of other priorities. And some of those partnerships that looked like they could have been the best thing ever never got off the ground because they didn't recover.
And
so while I would always say do big picture, start small. So within your partnership, start small. What can you do to just get going? Is there just a shared bit of content? Is there what's the smallest thing you can do? Because it does one of two things. Whatever gut feel you've got about someone's values and what they're going to be like to work with, it puts that to the test. Are they actually going to be like this? And then the second thing is it builds momentum. And once that momentum starts, once you're doing, people tend to continue to do. It's not just going to fall away. And so I think that starting small is a good one. And probably another maybe another mistake I think that people make, and it's probably along those same lines, is thinking that they're not partnership ready. And yes, there are some fundamentals, and I've got loads of stuff on that. But you can start small. It doesn't have to be, again, your ideal partner right now isn't necessarily the ideal partner that's going to take your business to the next level. It might just be someone that you can go, you know what, again, what's a small scale partnership I can do to just see if this is right for me and learn some lessons. And so there's always this thing, and it might be down to social media and the people that are full of 10xing your business in 2 months and all that type of stuff. But there's almost this obsession of it's got to be big. And yes, absolutely, partnerships are about that. It's about scaling quickly. But in order to do that, sometimes you take a small step. And I think that's probably that's a common thing that I see. That and the expectations are by far the two biggest. The expectations and being too client focused, not partner focused. They're the three. Absolutely.
And you touched on something, like you said that when you start small, it gives you a chance to get almost a feel for each other or something to that effect. And I think that is very, very important when it comes to partnerships. Surprisingly so for me, because I found that if you get a feel in that kind of first thing you try to do together that it's not quite right, it probably isn't. and it probably isn't. And I'm not one of those people that always say trust your gut, because it depends where your gut's coming from. But with partnerships, it's like if you feel that there's a friction or that disconnect, or it's probably best to go with it. What are your thoughts on that? That's just been my experience, Dave.
I'm going to completely agree with you. So there's gut feel around things where you're the only direct human involved, right? And then that's you're probably right. I'm not always the best judge for things for myself. But I think when you're working with another person, or people, I think that's where normally, if not all the time, but normally if something doesn't feel right,
absolutely,
it typically isn't. And I get that that's not a scientific thing. It's a very hard thing to be able to judge. But typically if it doesn't feel right, it's your body saying something. It's your subconscious kind of telling you. Yeah,
definitely. And because you're not projecting onto something that you don't know. Often it's based on an interaction, so you're not guessing here. It's often based on interaction. And so that's been my personal experience. And I always find that if that's the case, then probably it's best to part ways earlier rather than just let it drag.
I'd agree. And or if it's an inkling, well then do something that's going to shove you either way.
Right. Yeah. No, absolutely.
So don't just leave it unanswered and going, oh, we'll just see what happens, because that's not going to be right for anyone. And you're just going to waste emotional energy on it and actual time. And so just if you're not sure on the gut, but there's something there, we'll do something that's gonna help make that mind up for you.
Absolutely. And I think one of the benefits of working with you, Dave, and having someone, whether it be a consultant or just having a bouncing board in a specialist area like partnerships, is that sometimes if I'm feeling something or I'm thinking, I'll go, Dave, what do you think? Or do you think, and that's kind of the benefit of having someone that is a specialist. And increasingly I have a network of specialists that I'm like, okay, you can put on. And likewise, I'm a specialist to others. Do you know what I mean? But it means that whether you're being the person that's the bouncing board or you're bouncing off ideas, it's really, really important. And that's why I would say when you're launching, don't guess. Speak to people who know.
That's when gut feel isn't the thing to do, right? That's a prime example of
don't guess. Just ask someone that knows. It will speed up the journey. And so got a bit left field, but I think it's an important point to mention. But let's talk about your dance framework, which I'm such a fan of. And we don't want to give too much away, because if you really want this framework, you actually need to work with Dave. But let's just give an overview of what dance is and how you came up.
Yeah, awesome. So dance is my 5 steps to a successful partnership, right? And so we have like all knowledge sharers, you need an acronym or something, and dance is mine. You might notice a guitar in the background and some vinyl over there. So music is a big thing in my life anyway. But the D is for discovery.
Yeah.
And we've touched on this. This is about knowing who your ideal client is so that you know who your ideal partner is, and that value proposition that we know. Why do they want to partner with you? A is assembly. And assembly is all the behind the scenes stuff that means you're delivering a consistent level of service to your partners. It's things like how you're handling inbound leads, how you're tracking things, all that stuff. It's not stuff that's necessarily going to win you partnerships, but get it wrong and you will lose them. Partnerships are built on a foundation of trust. And if you don't get this stuff right and your partners start to doubt you, well, then it's just not where you want. It's just not where you want to be. And so it's really crucial to get right. For some businesses, it's more of a thing than others, depending on volume of leads and things. N is nurturing. And this is your partner communications. And this is the expectations that we spoke about, onboarding, how you're communicating them right throughout the partnership. And there's been a tendency at times, I think, recently to over-automate stuff. And I'm a big fan of automation. Absolutely has its place, particularly within partner relations. Things like transactional messages, send them on the same day at the same time every month. Do what you say you're going to do, make it regular, automate it, amazing. But you cannot lose that human touch. Partnerships they're based on a foundation of a relationship, and you can't automate that. You can make sure that the stuff that happens that needs to does, but like have some processes around that communication.
Absolutely.
Continue to add value, and do it in a way where any potential challenges in the partnership come out early, but also you're uncovering new opportunities as they come as well. And you can't automate that process.
Yeah.
C is connection. And for me, this is the bit, we haven't spoke about this, but this is the bit outside of expectations not being managed, the bit where I see most people have had partnerships and they haven't worked, so they haven't got this bit right. And what I mean by connection is, how are you helping your partner connect their audience to you? And this is either, I call it internal and external. So it's either things that are partner side, like what support you directly giving your partner and their teams. And then there's the external stuff is customer facing. What materials, what activities you're doing that help with that. Partnerships aren't about finding a partner and then sitting back and waiting for the leads to come. That's you've got to work it and do it and support it. And E is engagement. So once you've got all that, it's going out there and getting new partners. And it's often the bit that people kind of focus on the most, like, how am I going to go and get them? But actually, you do those other bits right, going and getting partners, particularly your initial partners, and then working out from there. It's actually probably the easiest bit, to be honest with you. The other pieces that come before it, that's the hard work. That's where you need to focus your effort. And so it's a framework I hold dear to my heart. It's one there, a book. There was supposed to be a book this year, but New Baby kind of, funny enough, a New Baby with the existing two kind of impacted my time a little bit. So book will be started next year now. Book will be started.
No, I can't wait. I can't wait for the book to be released, because it's a great framework. So Dave, I think it's clear the benefits of working with you. I mean, I'm a strategist. I've worked on partnerships before, had great success, and yet I still decided to work with you. Because you're just a specialist in the area. And even if, as part of our strategic process with clients, we identify that partnerships are our way forward, we'd be bringing you in. And one of the reasons I'm doing these lives is to really show the community, the network of relationships we have, and that how, if we work with you, we're bringing in specialists, and to give people a taste, because it's very easy to think, actually, we can do it all ourselves, but actually, hopefully, these lives have given people some insights into the nuances and why specialists like yourself are needed. So tell us, how can people, viewers, work with you if they're interested in partnerships and they want to have a discussion or take it further? How can they work with you?
Right. So very first off, I just want to say it's been amazing the breadth of experts you've had on these lives as well, Katrina. So I think it's testament to your own expertise and your own credibility that you've got so many amazing people that want to work with you and do these. So a big hats off to you as well. If people want to work with me, I do a bunch of stuff. So I do kind of one-to-one strategy days, like we did. I do broader programs where I really kind of sit down with people and hold their hands all the way through the production of materials, and I do that either in one-to-ones, or I do it with teams, or I even do, if people are kind of not quite at partnership stage and are thinking more around just referrals, then I do some work there, either on one-to-one or teams on referrals as well, because that starting point is, are you leaving money on the table by not doing referrals? And so many people don't do that. So it's really anything. If people have got any issues or know that they could be doing more with, which, as we said right at the start, is still the most effective B2B marketing strategy. It's not that you don't do the others, but they're there to support this. Then there's a host of ways people can connect with me on LinkedIn, book a call with me, and I'm always happy to give a little bit of advice. I'll put a link in the comments and things like that.
Great.
That's me. So.
And are you going to be at the business show this year, Dave?
I was just thinking this before we got on our call. I am, I'm speaking at the business show on the Wednesday, which is the 16th at 3:30 on word of mouth, how you can make the most of it. So.
Great. And I'm there too. We're exhibiting on stand B980. So come see Dave and I. Come and see Dave talk on the 16th at 3:30, and come visit our stand. So and what's So, and people can connect with you on LinkedIn as well, can't they, Dave?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we'd love to. Yeah, we'd love to. I share quite a lot of
Great content.
yeah.
Videos every week, isn't it, Dave?
Yeah, I share a partnership tip every week, and
Yeah.
there's normally some written content in there as well. So yeah, I'm pretty active on there. So yeah.
Excellent, excellent. Well, yeah. So take the opportunity, guys, connect, and yeah, it's partnerships are great. I can't shout that enough. So thank you all for watching, those of you who have watched live or are watching the replay. Dave, thank you so much for your insights. You know I'm a fan. So connect with Dave and I if you are interested in launching, whether that be launching your business, launching into that next level of growth, or even launching to exit. You're thinking of selling your business or moving on, definitely do get in touch. We launched our brand new website last month, thelaunchstrategist.com. So don't be shy, pop on over and see what we have there. Yeah, Dave, thank you so much for your time. It's always a pleasure, and we will absolutely speak soon.
Smashing. Thanks for having me, Katrina. Really appreciate it.
You are welcome. Bye, everyone.